15 minutes total, but I think I can get it pared down to 12 or so. So we shouldn't go longer than, I don't know. We could get away with going an hour. We've done it before.
I don't know. I think this feels like it's going to be a shorter one because it's going up Friday and
Right.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday recording, and then now we're on Thursday, right? So yeah,
it'll be interesting. I've never I don't think. Well, there was that one time we did Friday. No, just kidding. We haven't done Friday before, so we'll see how that goes.
Friday before?
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
last year maybe.
What do we have? Do we have anything to say about Clint Irwin's AMA?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
good?
I do.
All right, cool.
Okay.
For it'll take 2 minutes, but I do have something to say.
I'm just saying.
I think
last
we could do
time I was on our
45,
list
50.
and I brought it up, people had nothing to say, so I was like, okay.
Because he's from North Carolina, so he made some awesome North Carolina remarks that I have to rub into people's faces. So
Cool.
I'm going to toss a link from a thread I saw on RMLS today that was interesting. It was about the hype that MLS fans give themselves before the CCL matches away in Mexico, and then
was that
deflation.
Was that Stephen MC19's thread?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that too. Although I think it has a lot more comments since the last time I looked at it.
Yeah, so I'm just heads up. I'll probably bring that up just in case you guys want to.
Yeah,
Take a look.
I read his whole thing, but I didn't. I saw it right after it went up, so I only saw
It was
10
interesting.
comments.
It was like a debate between him and Alex Ubers.
Right.
Just like two people who are known in the subreddit. So
What are the general thoughts on Alex Ubers?
I don't know. I've upvoted him like 30 times, which is a lot for me. I'm a rare upvoter. So
I feel like I go back and forth on him. I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, this guy, man, he just nails it. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And then sometimes I feel like he comes across as a dick for no reason, like that he'll. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, like I'm looking at a comment now. He goes, "You sound like an awful person to be around. Like, how are you gonna?"
Yeah, that's not super.
You know, like that's
constructive.
not very. Fuck.
yeah, I think I upvoted him for the funny things he says.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, he is a funny guy. I'll give him that.
Yeah, you can't always agree with everybody, but at the same time, there's a certain way to go around things, right? I mean, you're calling people out like that. It's.
Yeah. Are we ready to fire this baby up?
I'd love to see him and Green Mocha get into it, though. That would be good.
Green who?
Green Mocha? Do you remember this?
This is the guy who's like, he's got Kansas City flair, and all he does is just like talk about how terrible they're going to be, and why they're so bad right now, and how disappointing everything is. Yeah.
I could see them two get into it. That'd be very entertaining. So just be like two trolls going after each other in a sense, you know.
Or him and a chance encounter.
That's
that guy.
Yeah.
That guy is just a whole mess.
By the way, we're keeping all this gossip about our MLS people in the podcast, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that we're live right now.
Oh, we're live right now?
Yeah.
Check out all that stuff I said about Obama.
No, I like as Ian put it, the just the gossip, like
it's like high school.
He is dating.
All right, y'all ready to do this thing?
Let's do it.
Why is referee strike over and NYCFC crest on the same line?
I don't know.
Because I said so.
The crest came out and the refs are like, all right, we're going back.
Yeah.
Did the crest come out like in the last 24 hours?
It came out in the last
ago?
exactly.
And then the link on RMLS says that page doesn't exist anymore, so that's excellent.
Okay. So
I still haven't seen it.
It's the circle. Remember there were two designs?
Yeah, it's in the top left right now.
Oh, is it?
It's the header image, yeah.
Oh, that's the one they decided to go with. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Doyle likes it.
Do we know anything more on the Dempsey suspension yet?
No, we've basically been told, I think Ziggy asked that we would hear before today because of travel. We didn't, but they typically don't even put that stuff out until Thursday or Friday, so the disciplinary committee has not yet updated their I don't know, weekly site or whatever. So I'm expecting it to be tomorrow. I'm sure that we made Dempsey travel, and then they're going to tell us it's a 2-game suspension, which kind of blows for him. But hey, the game might get pushed back because of snow, so we'll see.
That kind of sucks for. Well, we'll talk about how that sucks for Dempsey in a second.
All right, you guys want to start?
Yeah.
Do this thing.
Let's do it.
Sorry, reading things again. All right, everyone, welcome back to another edition of our MLS Cast. I'm just making up names for you now. We are on iTunes. We are on Stitcher. We are on any way you guys get your podcast. We're hopefully on there. And if we're not, just yell at us and we'll figure it out in 2 to 3 months. We'll get it done. Remember to check us out on Twitter. I'll let Ian give our information on that. My name's Chris. Reddit username PatLandups11. Dennis isn't in the flow of things yet, so we're going to get him in on this. Welcome back, Dennis.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Dennis. My username is Denmar, and that's about it. I'm from Canada. That's it.
If you couldn't tell by the accent.
Oh shit.
I'm Ian, username Armascarbo.
And I'm Pete, username PunkRockPete.
All right. I guess the big news right now, we're coming off of 2 devastating CONCACAF Champions League matches.
Oof.
Ian, you seem the most beat up about this. You want to lead off our conversation, our commiseration here?
Well, as Chris, you know, you and I watched the San Jose game, not like in the same place, but at the same time or whatever. And it was sad. The San Jose game. They had a chance. They really played with Toluca. They even had a goal that should or should not have been counted back. I don't know. Looking at the photos afterward, it kind of seemed like maybe he was offsides. But you know they played with Toluca, and they were the team that were given the least chance because they didn't even have a lead going into Mexico.
I don't want to breeze past the offside call. I think that whatever side you come down on that, I think that the outrage and reaction to the possibility that it was not offside was a little unfounded, because if we still can't argue whether or not that was offside, if you want to draw lines that go to the horizon and you want to draw lines that are parallel to the field and we still can't agree on whether it was or not, then I think we can give the assistant referee a little, room that it was a tough call and no one should be outraged which way it was made.
And I'll also say that I think as sports fans, we often scapegoat one moment in a game. But I think that's not giving credence to the rest of the match. Even if there is a missed call somewhere, you still had 90 other minutes.
Right. Well, 120 in this case.
Right. You had your 120 minutes, and you had your hand on 2 to 3 PKs that still went in the net.
Yeah, how about that?
Chances to win that match.
I mean, that series was so close.
So it's always, of course, you're always going to feel, wronged when those calls go against you, but you can't lay the whole game on the feet of one pass. Maybe
it's not wronged. Maybe it's just sad. Just like the AR just very easily, as easily as he put up the offside flag, he very easily could not have, and we would have had the same argument, and San Jose would still be in CCL, but they're not. So it's just like it's a what if. It's like when the Panthers lost the Super Bowl 11 years ago. I still have what ifs on, what if John Casey hadn't kicked it out of bounds. It's nothing to get mad about. It's just something to feel bad about. And that series in all was close. I mean, the winning penalty barely crossed the line, right? Bush almost had it, and it just spun. It spun weird, and then it crossed the line, and then Toluca won. So that was one kind of sad. And then the next kind of sad was immediately after they were eliminated, Kansas City scored and took the lead on Cruz Azul. They had the lead of the series going into the half, and then Cruz Azul scored 3 more goals, and Kansas City completely melted down, and Yuri Rosell almost fought a guy, and it was weird seeing SKC unravel like that. It was kind of, depressing. The other kind of depressing, which I guess yesterday I learned there are two different kinds of suppressing.
Well, we can all hope that SKC just goes into a downward spiral that lasts an entire season, right?
No, because they have to play CCL later.
Well, yeah, what, August? They can recover by then. They can just take, like, if they average like a half a point between now and August, then they can just kind of come roaring back and play well in the CCL.
I'd say, if anything, they maybe didn't have the energy going into the CCL match because, they had played a lot of games over the past 2 weeks. So I would argue that they should just go real easy throughout the rest of the MLS schedule. Especially against teams in the East.
And I will point to the Sounders win to open the season as the catalyst for that, so you're welcome.
If only there were a SKC fan here to stop the pain, but there's not.
No, I don't think anyone doubts that they're going to be a strong team this year. How strong, are they challenging for... Supporter Shield, as a lot of pundits claimed at the beginning of the season that they would actually be the favorite for Supporter Shield. I'm not quite sure, but I would be shocked if they didn't make the playoffs. That would be the biggest twist of the season. That would be bigger for me than Chivas Chivas making it. It would be bigger than Toronto and DC making it. If somehow they don't make the playoffs, that would be an absolute shocker to me.
Well, are you claiming it's going to be a shocker if TFC makes the playoffs this year?
Less and less so, definitely. I think we've got an awfully small sample size, but being on the wrong side of that game, I was pretty damn impressed.
Okay, so let's not move away from CCL too quickly here. There was a lot of talk about what needs to change in MLS before we can start really thinking about competing in the tournament. And this happens every time, and a lot of people are a little bit reactionary. What are the actual takeaways we can, take away that MLS could improve, or are there things that just they can improve? Like, for example, these knockout games are happening at the very beginning of the season, just after preseason for these guys, whereas the Liga MX had just finished League 10 of their Clausura, which is the second half of their season.
I would also like to say that, we're one PK out of the semifinals. It's not that we're not competing in the tournament, because I think we are competing in the tournament. It's just that we have trouble, overcoming that last barrier. And I think that in the next 3 or 4 years, we'll see an MLS team win the CCL. I don't think, we're going to establish dominance in the CCL, but I think at some point we'll have a team that can slip through there.
Right.
To answer your question, Ian, I think that outside of changing the actual schedule of the MLS, which I don't see happening, nor do I think is a good idea.
Right.
I think that the league could definitely do more to support the teams, at least in the knockout stages. I think that when you are playing in the CCL and you're in the group stages and it's coming in August, and you have to deal with the fact that maybe you're deep in the Open Cup and maybe you're making a run towards the playoffs, that's just part of the game. But I definitely think that the league could support the knockout teams with a little bit softer scheduling and, really make the commitment. And more importantly, I really think that we need to see some sort of larger incentive from the league for making it through, because I still see we're sending, B+, B, or B- squads to go play in knockout stages, and that's tough to see. I've taken kind of pride in the fact that for the most part the Sounders have sent A squads for these games when they can, and we need to see more of that.
Yeah, what was with SKC? I know they couldn't play Colin in the first leg because of yellow card accumulation, but why not the second leg? Why did he play on the weekend against Dallas and what will probably end up being a relatively meaningless game, and then later you had Ike Oparo start next to Matt Beasler in what was a disaster of a backline?
Well, I think you're going to have trouble talking SKC into thinking an early season game is going to be a meaningless game when they were, they missed the Supporter Shield last year by, I don't know, it was a point or two, right?
Yeah, it was.
So I think that you're going to have trouble making that case to the brass at SKC. But I think, I mean, it might go back to the original question of kind of what does MLS need to improve. I think that the thing that the Mexican League has over us every day of the week is depth, and I think that
Yep.
they can,
And money.
they can have a team in the middle of the season that has fresh legs, and that's rougher for us. And then of course we're flying down there midweek, and you have a game the week before, a game the week after, and you have to worry more about your players' condition than they do at that point.
And that's where I say that you could see a softer schedule from the league. We see plenty of Wednesday night games in this league. If I'm a knockout team and I'm playing a Tuesday or Wednesday night in Mexico, then I want to see the game weeks before and after for MLS be a Wednesday night game or a Wednesday before and a Sunday after, and give me as much time to rest and use my depth as possible.
Or, I mean, Toronto had a bye week, week 1. Columbus had a bye week, week 2.
So did
Give
we.
those bye weeks to those teams.
Yeah.
Perfect. Exactly.
Yeah, we'll play Columbus again if it means SKC doesn't have to play. So, now there's one more concerning thing I want to bring up, and that is LA. Omar Gonzalez's Galaxy gave up 4 goals in Tijuana. Matt Beasler's SKC gave up 5 goals in Mexico City. Those are our starting center backs in the World Cup this summer, probably. How much of a concern is that?
Do we think that those goals were all in the center backs?
No, not necessarily. And again, I mentioned this yesterday at some Reddit thread that there are caveats, obviously. I think Leonardo, Gonzalez's partner, might be one of the worst center backs in the league. I think Iko Para is miles behind where Aurelian Collin would have been. I think when you're starting James Riley at left back for the Galaxy, who couldn't start for DC United last year, you've got major issues. I'm not sold on Eric Kronberg. I think maybe they got to give Grunebaum a shot, or at least a shot at the start. But still, I mean, they've got to take leadership. Maybe Clinton is going to want them to take leadership, and he's going to reflect on this in not a positive way.
Yeah, but I think watching that SKC game last night, I think a lot of those goals came in 4 versus 3 or even 5 versus 3 situations where they were just kind of steaming down the field. So I wouldn't worry too much about the center backs based on the showing in the one match.
Yeah, I think you guys will have a lot better time. I think it's a bad way to compare the USMT to what happened in CCL last night. And the reason being is you're going to have a lot more depth with your US team, right? You're going to have players that